World of Tanks is a game about tanks. Brought to us by Wargaming.net and Big World Technology, WOT is a free-to-play, massively multiplayer tank party, which sounds a lot like the name of a gay bar for weightlifters. The idea is simple. You choose your tank, you shoot other tanks. Yet within this simple idea lies layers of complexity. First off, there's over 100 World War II era tanks to choose from. It's like Tanksgiving.
You suck!
You can choose between playing as the communists, the Nazis, and being a goddamn patriot. I went with the Nazis, but they're not really Nazis because they have iron crosses. No swastikas here. Way to brush that one under the rug, Wargaming.net. Not like it matters. It's not like you're reenacting World War II battles, unless I missed that lesson about all the battles the Americans, Soviets, and Nazis fought together against the evil Americans, Soviets, and Nazis. The gameplay is an interesting balance between simulation, shooter, and strategy, but there seems to be a heavy emphasis on the simulation. Your tanks act realistically, at least as far as I know. I only drove a tank once. Your tank is made up of a number of parts, and each of those parts can be targeted, damaged, and destroyed. Someone shoots your track, you can't move as fast. Someone shoots your turret, you can't aim as quickly. Someone shoots your gas tank, and you are on fire! You also have a crew inside the tank. Not only can they earn experience, thus improving performance for that tank, but they can die while you're fighting, limiting the functionality of your vehicle. Also, you earn experience in battle, allowing you to research new parts for your current tank and unlock new tanks in your tank tree. Each part and tank has detailed stats such as horsepower, load limits, and other terms with numbers after them. It's a lot to take in, especially when you've been drinking as much as I have. Now, despite all these confusing details, World of Tanks is still a fairly straightforward shooter. I mean, all those aren't too hard to learn, and even if you are too stupid to figure the stats out, all you have to know is bigger numbers are usually better. So really, in-game, it comes down to shooting other tanks. Now, for you fast-paced FPS fans out there, this game is a lot like those games, only it's slower and different. You can't just run in, strafe your opponent, and headshot him. In fact, strafing in World of Tanks means exposing your supple sides, which is not a tank's strong area. If you've played other shooters before, don't expect to use your old strategies here. With World of Tanks, you have to consider a lot of things, most of all, terrain. Hiding in a bush without moving can conceal you, giving you the advantage on unsuspecting passerbys. Also, there is your greatest enemy, hills. Dear God, I could run up these hills faster than half of these tanks, and I'm fairly tank-shaped. Even slight inclines will affect your metal behemoth's speed, thus planning around the terrain is extremely important. Enter strategy. Your team needs to plan shit out. There are two paths to victory in World of Tanks. Kill everyone on the opposing team, or capture their base by parking your big metal ass on their flag. Without strategy, you all might charge off in one direction, a couple enemies sneak by, get on your base, and since most tanks aren't remarkably fast, they've captured your base before you can get back. Smooth move. Unfortunately, it's a little hard to communicate with your allies since all you have is text chat, despite every tank having various radios you can buy for them. You can have voice chat, but only with people in your platoon, and platoons can only have 3 tanks in them, and the platoon leader has to have a premium account. Before I go on, I should mention that aside from your standard light, medium, and heavy tanks, I thought they were all heavy, you can also unlock artillery tanks, which allow you an awesome view and range in exchange for no real defense, and tank destroyers, which don't have rotating turrets but hit like a bitch. The gameplay in World of Tanks might be a little slow for some people, and it definitely takes some time to earn enough experience to unlock some of the really fun tanks. Still, there's a steady enough progression that you always feel like you're earning something new, and even if you are stuck using some shitty tank that has tractor in its name, the game matchmaking makes sure to pair you with tanks of an equal level, so you never feel too outclassed. Sure, your tank sucks, but so does your enemies. Of course, as a free-to-play MMO, there are microtransactions. I decided to drop a few bucks for their in-game currency, aka Nazi Gold. I got a premium account for a day, which gave me double experience and currency for my battles, and one of the premium tanks, which wasn't necessarily better than the standard tanks you can unlock, just different. You can also exchange gold for the in-game currency, which you'll need to buy parts and tanks, not to mention to repair your tanks and buy ammo after every battle. You get enough to cover that from battles, but buying that nice new tank you researched will come a lot sooner with a little Nazi gold. The in-battle items you can buy with the gold definitely give you an edge, but you never feel like you need them. One thing World of Tanks lacks is variety. Yeah, there are over 100 tanks to pilot and around a dozen unique maps to play on, but there is essentially one game mode that you will play over and over again. Granted, it's a good game mode, but it may be hard for some people to stick with it long enough for the payoff of unlocking some of the high-end fuck you tanks. Of course, being an MMO, the developers have already promised new content. They said they'll be releasing new tanks from Japan, England, and France, along with the possible addition of infantry and clan battles. Still, even without these, the core gameplay is good enough to keep a steady audience, and even if you think you won't like it, give it a try. If you end up loving it like I did, you can always tank me later.
What does it mean?